Welcome to this special edition episode of I don't even know. We're talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi today. Battlefront 2. It's now gaming related, so it can go on the GameCast channel. And today I'm joined by Snowy, the ever salty Snowy, or Count Fracula.
Yo.
How are you today, mate?
I'm good, thank you.
Dandy. So let's just jump straight into it. General feelings towards The Last Jedi. And warning, this will of course be riddled with spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, what are you doing here? Go away.
No, go away, watch the film, and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should be doing.
That's what the pros do, right? That's what the pros do.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Pause this video.
Smash that like button on your way out.
Mm-hmm.
General thoughts on the film. I had a good time. That's my...
That's good. That's what you want from a movie.
Yes, that is my general, really broad thought of the film. I had a good time.
Had fun. Thumbs up.
Exactly. Maybe slightly too long. Second act dragged more than it needed to. And overall, visually very good. That's my general thoughts on the film.
God, yes. I think we're pretty much on the same page. I had a lot of fun too. General feelings, very positive. I've seen it twice now. Absolute roller coaster fun ride first time. The cinematography, visuals, you're not going to get better. They knew what they were doing with this flick. The director had everything down pat. It was fantastic. So yes, 2 thumbs up from me. The first viewing, obviously got out from my first viewing, saw all the kind of differing opinions on the film as well. Kind of thought, well, I think there's some valid points to these opinions. Maybe jumped on the bandwagon a little bit, but I saw it the second time yesterday, and again, I think a lot of that I can disregard, and I thoroughly enjoyed it a second time as well. So I think probably with this video, we're probably going to try and just tiptoe through the film a little bit. We have got some kind of vague talking points we want to discuss. But Count, do you want to maybe start us off on maybe a general overview of the story, perhaps, and we'll go from there?
Oh, no. I have to remember.
What?
Now I have to remember.
I can do it if you want. I've seen it twice. I've got one extra viewing on you. It's a space chase, man. It's a space chase.
Hey, pretty much. We begin the film with the First Order closing in on the last remaining base of the rebellion.
And almost just a...
Oh, no, sorry,
tidbit.
they're called the Resistance in this one.
The Resistance, the spark of the rebellion.
And then they're changing back to rebellion, like, for the next film, because stupid...
More established or something.
Pedantic, like, semantics bullshit.
A little tidbit that is worth noting, though, this is almost immediately after The Force Awakens. At least what I gathered, anyway.
They don't specifically tell you how much time there is in between, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of time.
Yeah. Like, Finn is still recovering. He's still passed out from when he got cut in the back by Kylo Ren's lightsaber in the forest. And Rey is literally still just handing Luke the lightsaber. So it's very like we're talking, they jumped to some base somewhere else. They've alerted people or they're evacuating. It must be like a matter of maybe a week. I don't know. Depending how you want to look at it.
Well, you say that. I think that the whole Rey story and the other plots are happening in different...
Doesn't line up.
They're different time frames, because Rey, she has to have been there for at least, like, minimum 3 days. I say more like a week or a month. This is very much in the vein of Empire Strikes Back, where Luke's with Yoda, and it's very unclear how long he's actually there for. But I maintain that Rey was probably there for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I think about right, considering what we see and what it all goes through. That seems about the right time frame. And, so I think that the rest of it, like the rest of the story that we see, is taking place at the very end of this timeline here. So, yeah.
No, I agree with that.
Anyway, So yes, the rebel or the resistance are trying to escape their base, and Poe leads a desperate bombing run to try and exactly. Poe Dameron, the pilot guy from the last film, leads a little bombing run to try and take out a dreadnought, and which is one of these sort of bigger types of ship. Basically, think naval, because that's how space battles in real life would happen anyway. It's all very naval.
Yeah, and I loved that. I just want to say that's the first thing that I picked up on the movie, and throughout the movie was the kind of, I guess you call it two-dimensional element they brought to space battles. Like, we're talking like they were hovering these bombers and going for a bombing run over the top of this ship. And I just really enjoyed kind of the two-dimensional nature of the battle, which is really cool. I love that.
I would point out, though, those bombers, they were extortionately slow. What the fuck?
Oh.
It was ridiculous. I'm sure there's an in-universe explanation and reason for it, but fuck me.
Come on,
they
man.
They were the slowest ships in the world.
They're carrying dangerous cargo, man. You gotta go slow and steady.
No! They're not armed all the time. You see them get armed, so they didn't need to go slow until they were armed, surely.
Slow and steady wins the race, man. Come on.
Also, something that is like it's quite easy to explain in universe, but wasn't. Those bombs when they fell out of the bomber. I'm sure they were. What gravity? They're in space.
Just trying to throw a spanner in where I'm predicting where you're going, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to counter you.
Where's the gravity in space? No,
it's very true.
It's quite like if you think about it, you go, well, yeah, they were obviously pushed by some force from, like, they've obviously got like a big dunk thing that pushes them down, but
propelled them
that's
out, yeah.
not shown. It's made to look like they fall.
Could they be in the gravity well of the planet?
No, they're well out of that. And they wouldn't fall downwards, they'd fall towards the planet, which is at a completely different angle.
Okay. Alright, man. Well, this isn't Star Trek, or are we going to let some stuff slide?
Not when they're going so sort of hard sci-fi on the space battles, I fucking can't.
That's true. I didn't think of that, but that's a very good point. Something that always sticks with me, though, is sound in space. I get why it's there. It's a movie. It's in Star Trek 2.
Yes. However, no, there's
all
no
the
sound.
time. It's just stuck in my head. I just can't get rid of it. You know, every single time I hear something in space, I'm like, there's no sound in space. I've just ruined it for myself.
There's a good if you've ever watched The Expanse, which is a show on Netflix.
I have.
So really good. Really good hard sci-fi and very realistic.
Love it. Yep.
That has a realistic interpretation of sound in space because
I agree.
They have to, like, if there's two people outside and their communicator's broken, they have to literally whack their helmets together to be able to hear each other, because that's how sound works. It has to travel through a medium.
It makes sense.
Yes. Anyway, so
Star Wars, take note.
Yeah. Fucking hell, Star Wars, you're so unrealistic. You with your laser swords and mystical forces, how dare you?
Magic powers.
Yeah. So they try and escape. So after this bombing run, all the bombers have gone, which is obviously a bit of a pisser because there's not many people left in the resistance now, apparently. But everyone that's left manages to escape via lightspeed in 3 ships. And lightspeed is a thing that's established in canon as something that you cannot be tracked through while you're going through it. You can be tracked once you come out of lightspeed, but while you're in lightspeed, you can't be tracked. Okay? Right. This is a sticking point. A lot of people are like, "What? This is ridiculous!" And no, there is actually
lay it on us.
There is actually an explanation for this.
Science.
So a lot of people will probably just sort of, because it's the movies and it's the easy way to edit it, just assume that you go hyperspace, poof, poof, there you go, you're in the next place. No, you're not. There is actually travel time involved. So when in which one was it? That I think it might be Empire again, where the Millennium Falcon escapes, maybe on purpose, remember that. They're going, this is a big mistake to let them escape through hyperspace. And then they go, but then they can get tracked when they come out the other side. And the reason they don't get caught immediately is because there's travel time in between. Mm-hmm. So if it takes them 6 hours to get to a place by light speed, then that's 6 hours where the Empire or the First Order, whatever, has to stay there in this place to then find out eventually, once they've come out of hyperspace, where they went. So being in hyperspace affords you exactly the amount of travel time in leeway.
But that's the old school way.
Yes.
Lay on the new way.
The new way. The First Order...
Canon breaking way.
It's not canon breaking.
Maybe.
It's not.
Well, some people say.
Well, some people are wrong. The First Order have a special device on one of the ships that allows for tracking through lightspeed, meaning that instead of having to wait until the ships come out of lightspeed to track them, they can track them within lightspeed and just be right on their tail and go, hey, we're out of lightspeed, we're free. Oh shit, no, we're not.
Probably an iPhone Find My Phone app.
That's definitely what it was. Yeah, it was Find My iPhone. Someone just like...
Well, that's about as well as it was explained. Almost.
I know.
Just they have some special core computer.
I will admit that they didn't explain it very well. However, that... like, when you think about it, I mean, yeah, admittedly, you have to think about it, which isn't great, but it does make sense. Like, it does make sense within this universe that this is now a revelation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people just sort of jumped on that because it wasn't immediately obvious why this was an amazing thing.
Yeah. People will just jump on anything for the sake of jumping on it.
It does seem that way. But then remember... when Empire Strikes Back came out, people were like, oh my god, this is awful, I hate it, it's ruined Star Wars! So, you know.
Yeah, completely agree.
It's a thing that happens.
But basically, we've evacuated the base, we've had a bit of a bombing run on the First Order, we've escaped, and this is pretty much where the movie settles in now, where the spark of the rebellion, whatever you want to call them, the resistance, for the majority of the movie from this point onwards, they're being tracked through space and they can't escape. And they don't jump anymore. They're just kind of cruising through space, staying out of range of the First Order and their guns on their Star Destroyers. And this is where we settle in.
Yes. In what is, I will add, the first proper mention of there being a fuel issue in the Star Wars universe. Like
another small sticking point.
Obviously, it's a thing that's going to have happened at some point. Obviously, they're powered by some sort of fuel. Don't be ridiculous. But, you know, it's the first proper mention
God
of it.
forbid, you know, things have rules and laws that they have to abide by.
Who the fuck needs rules, man?
No, the Force just powers the ships too.
This is Space America. We don't need rules.
I want to know what the fuel is. Like, if we're going to have fuel, let's go into more detail. You know, don't put it in the movie. Just give me a book. You know, is it ground up Wookiees?
Yeah.
Is it, like, what is it?
I was about to say Beryllium, but I think that's Star Trek.
Oh, man.
Star Wars ship fuel. Hey, welcome to my nerd. Yeah, I remembered, like, so much bullshit. It's literally just called fuel. Rhydonium, apparently, is the most common type of fuel. There you go.
Not ground Wookiee. Okay.
The Wookiee home planet, Kashyyyk, hosted an oil refinery. So oil is still a fuel in that universe. Actually.
Wow. Yeah. There you go.
But yes, apparently the most typical type of fuel in the Star Wars universe is rhydonium, quite volatile, found on the planet Abafar, that thing. There you go. I didn't go onto Wikipedia for that.
Oh, Wikipedia. Love it. Good stuff. All right. Well, as you know, I have a few little talking points I want to dabble through. And considering this is pretty much where the movie settles in, shall we go through or tiptoe through what we didn't and didn't like?
What about what we did like?
Well, I was going to say what we. I was going to start
you said
with
what we didn't and what we didn't like. So that's all we're allowed to talk about.
Oh damn! Yeah, I'm a secret hater. So sorry. Yes, what we didn't and what we did like about the film, and then we maybe do some closing thoughts, and we'll try to give it to you in some kind of coherent fashion in order. So did you have anything immediately that jumps at you? I think this is probably the point where we probably have one of the most controversial points of the movie, which is that the Finn and Rose side story, which takes up a large portion of the movie, and it is kind of a dull portion. So do you want to maybe kick us off with that?
Yes. So we find Finn, and he's sort of feeling like he's lacking purpose. He doesn't know what he wants to do anymore. So he decides he wants to escape, and he goes to an escape pod. He finds Rose crying because her sister was on one of the bombers, set off the bombs and died. Starts talking to her.
Important side note, I just stop you there real quick. Just real quick interjection. The reason he wants to leave is that he has... I don't remember if this was explained or in The Force Awakens, but he has a little tracking device by this point in the movie, which is something that Rey is going to use to locate the Resistance.
Yes, because during the attack that the First Order ships make upon the Rebel fleet, or the first initial wave of attack, Carrie Fisher... Princess Leia gets blown into space. She should have died there, to be honest. However, her using the Force to get back into the ship does not make no sense.
Wait,
it is
she
completely...
uses the Force?
Yes, of course she uses the fucking Force. How did you think she did it?
This is completely new.
No, it's not. It's not completely new. It's quite clear from her heritage that she would be Force sensitive. Yeah, she's been shown in the expanded universe to use the Force.
So don't undersell this point,
yes.
Okay?
This has been
We're talking
40 years since the first movie. Mm-hmm. Do you think at no point in that time that she might have thought, I might try and use that? I might try and hone my skills? No, never. No point at all. Of course not.
I thought she'd just take the Han Solo route and just go out guns blazing. Blasters, no magic or anything, alright?
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of person that she is. Anyway, so she uses the Force to get herself back on the ship. No, that's not ridiculous, because she's moving matter, i.e. herself, which you can do with the Force very easily, also through space, which makes it even fucking easier.
So this was actually one of my first kind of, I call them... too cute moments, okay? So I won't call it the Disney effect. We did have some Disney effects in here with the porgs and all that shit, which I think were overused a little bit. But essentially, you know, the First Order's caught up with them. The bridge gets blown up. She gets sucked out into space. We're talking about Leia. She gets sucked out into space. Then we cut away for a short period of time. Then we cut back. She's floating through space. And... for me, I don't disagree with the scene. I think it would have been okay if she died there. I just thought it could have been... her Force abilities could have been portrayed in a less kind of cutesy... I call it a cutesy way. I don't know how to describe it.
I know what you mean. It was a bit sort of...
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a bit cheesy the way that they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I labelled it in my notes, and I know the internet's labelling it this way, the Mary Poppins scene, where she quite literally, it is meant to be this beautiful scene where you first see her use the Force, and she's, you know, suffocating in space. She's got these glowing ice crystals all over her, and she kind of floats back to the ship and into the bridge and saves herself. I just felt it was a little bit too cute. You know, why couldn't we have her on the bridge? It blows up. Perhaps she uses the Force and somehow... retains some kind of barrier on the bridge where the view screen was and maybe saves some people as well, you know? Like, that would have been pretty cool.
Oh, she could have done that, maintained like an oxygen barrier, and then had to let it go before she could have been safe. Had a noble sacrifice, there you go. And
I felt like that would have been somewhat maybe, I don't know how space works, a little bit more realistic.
Well,
I don't know. I just felt like a little bit too cute.
Space lady is making a force field.
Well, you know, and lightsabers and shit, you know.
Well, yeah.
But it just got a little bit too kind of cutesy for me. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
I think what happened, they had all these scenes filmed with Carrie Fisher, and of course she passed away. And I don't think anybody had the heart to cut, because she doesn't really do anything for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone had the heart to cut anything else out because it's Carrie Fisher's last film.
Yeah, and to make it clear as well, she makes it all the way through this film. She, in some capacity, should be in the third film.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, but then, of course, she can't be.
So we don't know.
Because she's
we just
dead.
don't know, And again, they have said that they won't resurrect her in any way, shape, or form with CG. No, so we don't know. Maybe they have cobbled together some scenes, or maybe they'll kind of just explain it away for the third one.
I think she's going to die off screen. I think there's going to be, in the opening crawl on episode 9, it's like, hey, she passed away fighting for the Resistance.
And she sparked the rebellion.
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
For the
so
third time.
It's going to be something like that. That's what I think anyway. But yeah, I think it would have been a better thing to do to just have her die in that moment. When the bridge gets blown up, personally.
And I think if they could take it back to some degree, they might rejig it if they had more notice.
Don't give George Lucas ideas. He's already rejigged the original trilogy enough. Fucking hell.
We don't talk about prequels here.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that happened.
Anyway, let's jump back to Finn.
Yes, let's jump back to Finn. So he's now got
abandoning ship for the greater good of Rey, apparently.
Well, that's what he says, but I think a part of it is sort of his selfish.
Yeah, it doesn't.
He wants to survive, and he doesn't quite know what's happening, and he doesn't feel part of the Resistance properly. Mm-hmm. So I get that. And then I have a slight problem with this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Rose then, she's like, I've tasered loads of people for deserting and trying to get into escape pods. And for me, we're supposed to sympathize with the Resistance, obviously. They're the protagonists of the story. That doesn't help me sympathize with them. That makes me go, oh, you're a bunch of dicks. You're not allowing people to escape for their lives when they think they're going to die. And yet, admittedly, it turns out there's a plan later, but Rose doesn't know that.
Yes.
So
that's a sticking point for me too.
Don't
worry, that'll come up.
It's a bit off. But anyway, so she finds out. Well, she hero worships Finn, and she finds out that he's trying to escape and tases him and starts taking him to presumably the brig. And then lots of faffery occurs, and it turns out that it's probably better off that they leave and go and find a code breaker, because they get talking with Poe and they find out that there's a special way that they track through light speed. And this whole convoluted plan comes around where they might be able to shut down the thing and then escape and then whatever else. Which, hooray!
Yes.
Good
and
thing.
they do this under their own...
Under their own volition, yeah. There's
no so they've gone AWOL.
Yeah, exactly.
So with Leia out of commission, they have a new command, and they don't. Poe at least doesn't agree with the commands, or it seems that there isn't a grand master plan to save the day. So he takes everything into his own hands, who then rounds up Finn and Rose, and they go on this AWOL mission. Well, it's actually more Rose and Finn that go on this mission, whereas Poe kind of stays behind to put all the other side of the workings together. And this actually leads me to my second sticking point as well, with I can't remember her name. We'll call her the Jurassic Park lady, because she's in Jurassic Park, the original. The Admiral, the one who took over from Leia, who's now leading the fleet, which consists of 3 ships at this point. Poe, on multiple occasions, and I believe that asks her the plan as to what they're going to do now that they're in this pickle. What are we going to do? He, on multiple occasions, basically gets told to F off, and that he's a flyboy and he's a hothead, and that's not what they need. And he does get literally no details as to what the plans are. And we're talking about, Poe. Now, earlier in the movie, the bombing run that they had against the First Order, that was considered a bad call by Leia. They wanted to just kind of hightail it out of there. So he was demoted for that. So there is a rank difference between him and the Admiral. But a person of his stature and experience, you would think, would be clued in as to what the plan is, considering he leads their kind of air space assaults. No. He gets nothing. So therefore he takes... Please, take it away.
I agree that this is poorly done. However, her actions do make sense when you think about it, because they've been tracked through lightspeed. For all she knows, they could have a spy on board.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is a point that could have been easily just resolved by her saying that to somebody.
Yes, just some form of clarification, because to me it just felt they were keeping him in the dark as a plot device to carry on the side story of Finn and Rose and himself, to basically commit mutiny in the end.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that, so it's a good... Her call is a good call to not tell anybody her plan, but... It's not explained why it's a good call, which is why technically, in the movie sense, that is a bad bit of filmmaking.
Yes, and from the audience point of view as well, like we can only assume that they know they're being tracked, right?
Yeah.
But we're assuming that they assumed they're being tracked because they're on their tail all the time. But it's from the character's perspective, they don't really know what's going on either, except for, I believe, Finn and Rose, who have detailed what they believe to Poe. So it's all a little bit kind of vague, and it just feels like it's there to serve like the story's purpose.
Yeah.
But,
that's
a small sticking point.
Anyway, so Finn and Rose somehow just escape. Like, they don't get detected or anything. This is another thing that I'm not a fan of. It's just people can seem to come and go from this. Like this chase, and nobody notices and or cares.
Like that, I just want to bring up something like that scene with there's a scene where the Millennium Falcon just drops out of hyperspace, ejects
Ray in the capsule, and then just poof
just
again, and everyone's
boosts. Fucking see you later.
No one gives a shit. Technically they do, because the capsule gets put into the thing, and obviously Kylo Ren is there, and he's like, you're here! I knew you'd be here, but come on! No one's gonna think, oh, that's a ship. Oh, it's gone again.
That's the Falcon.
What was that?
Oh,
what happened there?
See you later.
No one's gonna mention that?
No, just no mentions of it whatsoever. It's just kind of like, well, that happened. There's nothing they can do about it. Don't worry.
No.
Anyway,
we're
jumping ahead a little bit, but I just thought that was funny.
It is a bit dumb. Anyway, so yeah, people can just come and go when they like. So Finn and Rose naff off in whatever ship. It's like a little escape poddy type ship. And they go to this planet full of the worst people in the world. And it's a casino full of rich people! Ha!
Yes,
Yay!
In search of the code breaker,
yes,
who can apparently decrypt or break the tracking device.
Yes. And look, I have a problem with this whole scene in general. Yep. 1, it's too long. 2, it's a good idea, but it's a good idea, and the message it's conveying is fine, but it's so heavy-handed that I ended up disliking it. There's a big sort of thing about animals in this film. So there's a whole thing about freeing these sort of weird horse-like creatures that are used for racing, and they're obviously not treated very well. And Rose is like, oh no, this is horrible. I've never seen one up close, but they're being treated awfully. And then they end up freeing them. And then they ride them in a chase scene, which didn't need to exist. And then they free them, and then it's like, so we didn't find... Finn goes, we didn't find the code breaker, or we didn't get the code breaker. This wasn't really worth it, was it? And then Rose was like, I don't know. I think it might have been worth it. And then she frees down. Now it was worth it. No, it fucking wasn't. You freed some animals. You freed some animals that were probably going to get caught again anyway. Wasn't fucking worth it.
Her friends died that day. Fuck the animals. Get the code breaker.
I know. Bloody hell. There's time to cut. When your whole fleet and your friends aren't in danger, maybe come back and do some fucking animal rights bullshit. Come on. I'm all for animal rights. That's the thing that I get. But the message in that was so heavy-handed. And the other bit of it was the porgs. When Chewie he'd roasted 2 on the fire. He was about to eat one. And then it's like, and the ones are there, they're just like, no, what are you doing? Don't eat our friend. It's like, he's already dead. What the fuck does it matter now?
You see, I like the porgs, but the use of the porgs is just too much.
There's a couple too many of them, yeah. I'll admit. Like, I get the whole, oh, that's quite cute. Oh, he doesn't want his, oh, he's like, oh, no.
Gotta sell merchandise somewhere, you know?
But then it's like, what's Chewie going to eat? It's already established that he really likes meat as it is. Are you going to tell me that Chewie's
He's a
now...
carnivore, man.
Are you going to tell me that Chewie's become a vegetarian now? I don't buy that. But anyway, so that and the whole war profiteering message was a bit heavy-handed, and also it's heavily implied that every single person in that casino is an arms dealer.
Which is probably very incorrect.
It's probably bullshit, yeah. It's just like, oh really? So rich people are automatically horrible, and you're going, oh, how do people get this rich? Arms dealing. Well, that's the only way, is it? There's no other way to get rich.
It's just a blanket rule for that place, apparently.
Yeah, literally no other ways. They can't do you can't do stocks and financial stuff or whatever. No, it's always arms dealing. They're all arms dealers, including that weird little like reptile guy that's putting coins in BB-8. Yeah, he's an arms dealer as well. That opera 100%. Singer that gets scared. Yeah, she's an arms dealer as well.
That weird alien with the 22 titties.
Yeah, arms dealer. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, come on. I get where that message is coming from, and to a certain extent, I like and agree with the messages that, like those messages that, but it was so overdone and so heavy-handed.
Yeah, the paintbrush is just like fucking spread that shit everywhere.
It ended up grating, and I was like, no, okay, you're losing me now. So I really don't like that whole side story or scene because it just felt pointless.
And to make it kind of clear as well, like this is a large portion of the movie. This is 20 to 30 minutes that happens in like 2 to 3 chunks at a time. So you know when we jump back to these places, we're there for 10 minutes. So you know they've gone there in search of a code breaker. Instead, we get
the second code breaker.
Heavy-handed messages. Yeah. Long story short, they land there illegally. They get thrown in prison. They don't get the chance to meet the code breaker that they were originally looking for, and they did actually know his identity. Instead, they get thrown in jail. They find another code breaker. They have this miraculous bust out. They ride some weird-ass horses that are apparently being abused.
That didn't need to happen.
And they just leave. BB-8 and this weird code breaker, they steal this ship and they leave. And my gripe with the casino, I completely agree with what you've said, Count. I believe it was very heavily handed, the messaging in that scene, and probably really didn't even need to be there at all. You know, why do we need some weird animal activist story tied in? Why couldn't we just play a card game and win the code breaker in a game or something like that? My issue with the casino is I just felt the set piece itself was cool, and I thought it was underused. You know, we went to this casino. We literally had a couple of shots of some tables and some games and some people having fun. And then that was it. We were thrown in prison. It was done, or jail, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Why not utilize the location? You know, you said we're going to this rich planet in this casino. Why didn't we utilize the location? Instead, we got this animal crap. You know, like, say what you want. You know, this would have been a perfect time to tie in Lando back into the scene. Let's play Lando for the Codebreaker and have him lose again, like he lost the Millennium Falcon or something like that. Like, let's just tie him into it, or let's just utilize the casino set and actually have some fun.
And admittedly, it wouldn't tie in very well later, especially if they use Lando. It wouldn't tie in very well with what happens later, because it wouldn't make sense for him to betray again.
No.
But
no.
It could have been done better. Anyway,
do you know what I mean? Like, let's just have some fun with the set if we're going to put it in there, because it wasn't used. We just went there and then it was just thrown away.
It looked like a really nice
set
that they put together as well, and there was lots of detail to it. But then it was just there for 5 minutes and just went away to be replaced with
100%
shit. Anyway, so they leave with this Codebreaker number 2, this sort of weird hobo guy.
I call him the Brad Pitt lookalike. He's actually a real actor who's actually real
Benicio
famous,
del
I can't remember his name. There we go.
So they leave with him to go back to the fleet to infiltrate the First Order ship. Never explained how they managed that, but gloss over that. And
Codebreaker hacks him in, literally.
Right.
That's it. Don't ask questions.
Good. And then they go through this ship, and there's BB-8's doing a stealth scene, which is quite funny. He's put a bean over his head, and he actually does the little small droid noise from the original films, which well done. And then they get caught, and that's a bad thing. They get caught, and they're about to be killed. And we've not even touched on the Rey story yet. We're just talking about Finn and Rose's story.
Well, I mean, to be honest, we've kind of gone somewhat in order, but we should probably cut back to the Rey stuff.
Yeah, they got caught. They're about
to
be killed. Let's just cut back to Rey and what she's done.
This is all happening simultaneously, in the movie's perspective. So
in the preceding weeks, Rey has been trained by Luke Skywalker. Well, she gets to Luke Skywalker. He tosses away the lightsaber because he's like, ugh. And a lot of people didn't like that, and I thought it was quite good. I thought it was done well.
Yes. I actually liked it. I thought it fits in well with where they took Luke's character, which we'll obviously jump into.
A lot of people don't like where they took Luke's character.
I know. But I get it. I think Hamill himself may not agree with where they took the character, but I think the way Luke was portrayed in the originals, he's someone who can get lost in his emotions and is in his own head. He's been shown to do it before, and I think based on what happened, in that gap between the movies, I think it works. I think it works 100%.
Exactly. And a lot of people want, the whole point of it is don't do hero worship, because it's not what you, the person you want them to be isn't that person. That's not who they are.
Exactly.
And a lot of people
went into this film
wanting Luke to be this badass Jedi and this amazing
this
person.
righteous badass.
This is what they wanted, but that's not, if you actually look at the story and what's happened, of course he's not going to be that. And he never was that either.
To some degree, he was up until some point between The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, he was that character that we wanted, but events
not
happened,
even that.
Horrible things happened.
He thought he was, and the people he was training thought he was, but he actually wasn't. This is one of the points of it, is what brings down the Jedi in the prequels, and what brings him down is hubris. Him thinking, yes, I am as amazing as the legends say. Ha ha, I cannot be stopped, I'm amazing. Oh shit, something's gone wrong.
Yeah. The righteous side of the light side.
And then he's worked it out, and his character makes perfect sense within this film. It works for me, because based on what's happened around him, that is exactly how he should be.
100% agree. Again, we're probably jumping past Rey again, but Luke is portrayed as being this kind of real bitter, twisted man who's just basically shutting out his religion to a sense. He just wants to
in a very literal sense,
and stay out of it. Yeah,
because he's cut himself off from the Force. He's very literally cut himself out from it.
Yeah,
because
he's bitter towards it. Yeah, and to make it clear, he had some horrible things happen to him between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. He had multiple trainees or Padawans killed under his protection and temple by Kylo.
And another load just taken, apparently, as well.
Yeah,
we'll probably find out what happens to those later.
Fuck knows what they're going to do with those. And then he had his own nephew turn on him, and he even, to some point, considered killing him. From his point of view, the Force has ruined his family and life and killed many young people. And, when you tie all of that in with, from his point of view, all of the previous Jedi failings, through history.
Then he's going to be like, oh, this is a bit shit, I don't care.
This hasn't worked. Let's just fuck this shit. It hasn't worked.
Exactly.
And then he's got the whole bitterness tied to it as well, where it's destroyed his family and life.
Yeah, so his character makes perfect sense.
Yeah, he's very. What else do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want him to just
disregard
be like
it all and
immediately go, oh shit, I failed, and Ben Solo turned to the dark side. Oh, but I'll train you. That's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. What? What kind of no? That's not how people behave.
Exactly.
He got
burnt, and he's reacting.
I get
in the predicted sense.
This is fiction, but they still have to act like people would act. They have to do what, like, in the real situation, that's what someone would do. They'd be like, oh, I'm not risking that again. Fuck that shit.
And this here as well, it's a massive sticking point for a large portion of the fandom as well. Like, they seem really upset with the way Luke was portrayed, and Hamill himself doesn't agree with the way Luke was portrayed.
The thing
I think some of it for Luke or Hamill is just real quick counter. He knew where George Lucas probably wanted to take the character, which he thought was far more exciting and pure, and now he's got this version.
Yeah, well, George Lucas had actually told him. Yeah. George Lucas had told him what he wanted to do. And then Mark Hamill has actually come out in the last couple of days and said, can you stop saying like that I thought this was shit? That's not what I meant. No,
he didn't say it was shit. He just didn't agree with where the character was going. The work was still good.
Exactly. Yeah. He still said, I think Rian Johnson made a really great movie from this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the distinction to make.
Exactly.
I think it's just the fandom is just getting all twisted about how they envisioned Luke in the future and Jedis, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So, that's the thing that
to be honest, it's I think a correct response, and I think if he hadn't acted with some kind of bitterness or remorse or twisted feelings,
then it wouldn't really make a lot of sense, would it?
He
wouldn't have gone to that. He wouldn't have gone to the fucking island if he wasn't bitter about it.
Exactly.
He wouldn't be. He'd be in with fucking Leia and the Resistance.
Let's not forget Rian Johnson. I think that's his name, the director. Yeah. He's dealing. I'm sure there was some kind of big overarching story arc that Disney had in place for all the characters and the main story, but he's picking up where J.J. Abrams left him. So he's working with what came before. So Luke's obviously butthurt about something and he's pissed off for some reason to this island. What could those reasons be?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, eventually after Leia, fucking hell, after Rey following him around for a few days just to sort of bother him and try and persuade him, he agrees to give her 3 lessons about the Jedi, and he thinks that it'll show her why they should die. So, and in this time, we also find out that Rey is bonded by the Force to the mind of Kylo Ren, and in what is very good cinematography and editing, we're actually able to work out like very much what each other is seeing from this situation. Like you can actually. They do a very good job of explaining what each character is seeing in those scenes. Like, Kylo Ren can only see Rey in the space, whereas Rey seems to be able to see everything in Kylo Ren's space.
And they're actually literally almost having kind of these little secret
conversations,
abrupt and random conversations.
Yes, because it's obvious that
one
she
from
doesn't...
a Star Destroyer, one on the island, and they don't know why.
Yeah, and she obviously doesn't want this to happen to start with, and she's like, "Oh, I hate you." And then gradually over time, their connection grows and evolves a little bit, and it's a very interesting character dynamic that we end up with here.
Yeah, they relate to each other and they find some form of middle ground.
Yes, which is quite interesting. But back to the lessons. Luke then decides that the first lesson should be about the Force and what it is, and she decides to tell Rey in broad terms about the Force, and she thinks it's something that it's not. She thinks it's a very oversimplified version, and that it's something that the Jedi own and control. And Luke
lift rocks.
Exactly. Luke explains that this isn't the case, and it's just something that connects everything, and that Jedi have the ability to manipulate it. Well, not even just Jedi, some people in general just have the ability to manipulate this Force in various ways. Which obviously is a very open-ended statement, which means that, it doesn't limit what people can do with the Force, because it's a very open-ended statement. And that comes into play later. And he then decides that Rey should be taught how to use the Force, or at least try and connect with the Force. And in this island is actually an ancient Jedi temple. It's been there for 1,000 generations, bloody blue. And a big light side thing, and there's also a little hidden away dark side thing, which in a very poetically done bit is actually a mirror. Mwahaha. Ooh. Do you get the allegory there? Mwahaha. Clever.
I thought that was really good.
It was a very
that scene.
The whole scene, the scene where it's actually working out that it was a mirror, very good thing. I get that. However, the whole like bit of her inside a mirror was a bit pointless.
That was a little bit drawn on, but I mean, like the whole, again, like this is the point where I think it's her second lesson, or I can't remember if it's her first lesson by this point. Luke's trying to just kind of tap her into the Force, right? But there's a scene that plays out, and this kind of rolls into Rey's kind of character and development and what she's seeking. And Luke asks her multiple times, like, why are you here? And she gives the expected response of, I'm here to help the resistance, blah, 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 we need you, Luke. But Luke's like, no, why are you here? And this is kind of where her story kind of continues to kick off and pick up from The Force Awakens. She wants answers. Like, who is she? Why is she so Force sensitive?
She just wants
what
to
is her
know.
heritage?
Exactly.
She wants to know who the hell she is, because she has no idea. This is the girl that's been dumped on a desert planet, and she literally, that's all she knows.
Yes,
right?
and she just wants to find out where she fits in.
Yeah, what's her purpose? Which is kind of where this kind of teaching ties in when she taps into the Force. And she goes into this kind of Force experience with this kind of mentality of wanting answers. And that's when, she first in this lesson kind of is exposed to the light side, because that's what's on the surface, the island and everything surrounding the island, all the positive of the island. Then she finds the middle ground, the balance, which is where Luke seems to reside these days. He doesn't believe in the light or the dark or the extremist of each side. He just wants balance. So he says, fuck knows exactly where he lies in there. And then the dark underside of the island kind of rears its head, and it sucks her straight in because it knows that she's seeking and wanting of something. And that leads into this whole mirror scene, which again is kind of trying to kind of tease her into trying to look into this mirror back at herself, I guess, to find, inward answers in a sense, I guess. Or, it kind of visually portrays her desires. Right, and ultimately she gets nothing from this scene, which I thought it was a good scene. I think the mirror kind of scene, which is like kind of clicking, and you get kind of that double layered mirror, kind of happening. I thought that was a little bit kind of bit odd, I think. And then she was doing kind of a third person voiceover, was a little bit strange for Star Wars. I thought kind of what they were trying to portray there was really good, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all a thing that's happening. And then preceding that event, and after another sort of lesson, or another lesson or two really, Rey has another conversation with Kylo and finds out that, from his perspective at least, Luke tried to kill him. Contrary to what he said previously, where Luke confronted him and he just sort of turned on him. And Luke walks in on this conversation happening and sees it happening. So I don't quite know how that works specifically, but anyway, he can see it happening, and he's like, "What the
He's
fuck
a master.
Are you doing?"
He caught him red-handed. Like,
Exactly.
What are you doing here, Kylo? Yeah.
What are you doing here? And then literally blows
Leave
the building
the door
apart.
open.
I love the fact he blew like the building apart, which was really because it's one of those things like you show how powerful a character is, like when they just sort of lose it, and you're like, poof, and it's like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah, you just sort of remember. Like, this character has shut himself off, and he's been out of the loop for probably about 10 years. But he's still this insanely powerful person.
Yeah, this was some shocking stuff. Like, he wanted to really abruptly interject into their little meeting. Yeah. Like, he was not messing around. So
he does that, and then immediately, a thing that I quite like is that it gets shown how this 10 years, even though he's still insanely powerful, he is very out of practice, because he then gets beaten down by Rey because she's now pissed at him for lying about what happened.
Because she originally got Luke's side of the events, and then she got Kylo's actual side of the events, or the two different perspectives.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was Luke's idealized perspective of events.
Yeah.
And then Kylo's side of events. And then she confronts Luke about it. Beats him to the ground, bear in mind. Like, really...
stick fight.
A proper beatdown. And then she's like, what the fuck did you do? Did you actually try and kill him? It turns out that he had seen the darkness inside Kylo Ren, decided that this was an awful thing. And then a lot of people don't like this moment. I do. It makes perfect sense within Luke's character. He was like, I need to kill this because it's going to kill everything I love. He's always been a hothead. Like, do you not remember at Return of the Jedi where he beats down Darth Vader? It looked like he was going to beat the shit out of him and kill him. And he refrained at the last second, just like he did here. And he was like, I'm going to kill this alien. He was like, oh shit, no, that's my nephew. Oh no, he's awake. Oh god, it's all gone wrong. Like, that is perfectly within character for Luke Skywalker.
100%. Yeah. So then this is all, by the way, at their like training temple as well, where he's been training all the kids too. And by this point in time, by the moment, you know, he's been sensing the darkness rise in Kylo or Ben for some time, and he's finally decided to confront him. And this is the moment in time where Kylo went, oh, fuck, I'm out. I'm going to Snoke. You tried to kill me.
Yeah. Which, you know, again, that's not... I mean, it's probably not the best idea, but I understand his reasoning for it.
No, I think it's good. I like the scene.
Makes perfect sense.
Again, at this point in time as well, you get a sense of Kylo's strength as well, when he does a very similar scene, but in reverse, and completely crumples the building in on Luke and escapes himself.
Yeah.
And
I think, what it does, it helps you understand all these characters and their motivations and why they do what they do.
That's one thing I think they handled. Probably one of my favorite aspects of this film is how they handled the characters, and really, I felt like they really fleshed them out, and we had a clear understanding of what motivated these characters. And I thought, especially Kylo and Rey's development in this movie was fantastic. Especially Kylo's. I thought Kylo's was extremely well handled. The jump from The Force Awakens to this one, I felt we went from kind of this real visible, external, young teen, kind of troubled character with Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens to more of a settled, kind of complacent internal battle, but a different battle in this one. It was more about he was entrenched in the dark side, but it was what he wanted from the dark side and what his ambition within the dark side, which I think was good.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I get that completely. His characters, but he's still like the angsty dark side person. That's what his character's always been, but it works. I think he really upped his performance in this film. He was very much... Adam Driver was the standout performer to me in this film.
It was very good. I actually didn't like him in The Force Awakens. I didn't really like the Kylo Ren character.
I didn't hate him, but I understood why people didn't like him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate him. I just kind of was I guess, somewhat irritated by him. I got a very prequely Anakin vibe, and I don't know if that was intentional.
Maybe, yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
Conflict, young kind of gangster nature, just hothead all over the place. And I couldn't be happier they got left behind for this one. You know, he's clearly become entrenched in the dark side, and he's become, he's no longer that kind of Padawan or learner, or, he's no longer the student. He's just developed now to some kind of more complete form of where he should be at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, after this scene where Luke is confronted by Rey, and we find out the whole real story of what happened without the perspectives going on, Rey decides that she decides that Luke isn't going to come. She asks him to come again, and he's like, no, I can't do it. And so she was like, right, I'm doing this with or without you, and leaves with Chewie, who is here, incidentally. Chewie exists in this film.
He kind of eats a porg and flies the Falcon at one point.
He doesn't really do very much, no. And then R2 exists as well at various points. Yeah. And he plays the first Leia message to Luke, in a sort of like heartwarming
I like
scene.
that.
That was really well done. It was quite nice. It was just like,
yeah, I thought that could have easily been considered maybe a little bit too kind of cutesy, but I liked it.
Yeah, it worked for me. And then
it fit, yeah.
And then Rey's like, right, you're a lost cause, and just leaves. Which, fair enough. I get where she's coming from with that.
And at this point in the movie as well, we kind of get a bit of a Empire Strikes throwback where Luke leaves Yoda against Yoda's kind of wishes mid training to a degree in search, because Luke thought he could go save his can't even remember why he was leaving the Empire Strikes. He wanted to go save his friends, I believe.
Exactly.
He wanted to go save Han and Leia from, the Sky City. He thought he could, best Vader. And Yoda's like, no, don't go. And we get a very similar thing from Luke. Like, Luke's telling Rey that, she eventually just leaves because she feels like she's wasting her time there. I have to go help my friends. And Luke's like, this isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go. Because she wants to go save Kylo or convert Kylo and then save her friends. Exactly. And Luke's like, with Luke's experience and better judgment, it's like, no.
Don't do this thing. But she does it. And then
she does it.
Yes. And Luke looks to his X-Wing that he binned years ago. And there's a little sort of like, what's he going to do? So in the meantime, on their flight back to the fleet, Rey decides that she is going to infiltrate the big ship and sort of convert Kylo. Not really.
She basically turns herself in.
Yeah, she's like, hey, if I turn myself in, I'll get to see Kylo, and then I can convert.
She's hell bent. She's in the Luke Skywalker frame of mind. She's hell bent on saving Kylo, much like Luke thought he could save his friends in Vader. Exactly.
And we all know this isn't something that's going to go well, is it?
No.
So she gets dropped off in the Falcon, and the Falcon jumps away because it's bullshit. And
this is almost where the two kind of stories converge as well.
Pretty much, it's So Finn and Rose have been caught. They've been betrayed by the Code Breaker, and it's all gone wrong for them. At the same time, Rey is being interrogated by Snoke, trying to find out where Luke Skywalker is, and pardon me, and potentially turn her to the dark side. Not a bad idea. Well done, Snoke. She's obviously a pretty powerful Force user. She might come in handy. Anyway, he fails in his attempt to sway her to the dark side.
And let's back it up. 1 second. Sorry, count.
Okay.
1 second. When we said earlier that the Force brought Kylo and Rey together,
it was
actually Snoke hoping that he could lure her in.
Yes.
And boom, he did it.
He hook, line, and sinker. He did the thing. He was the mastermind.
He fucked her with the Force.
Ugh. Ugh. Anyway.
That's pretty full on.
Yeah, it really was. Quick cut back to Luke Skywalker Island, though. He has suddenly decided that the sacred Jedi texts, which were in a sacred Jedi tree, should no longer exist, and that the Jedi really do need to die. And little does he know, spoiler, that the books have been taken by Rey and they're in the Falcon. And as he does this, he's doing it, and then he sees an apparition of Yoda, who's in this film in his puppet form. Woo! Force Ghost Yoda!
Yeah, that was fucking sick. Real quick, though.
That was pretty good.
Did Rey actually take any books?
Yeah, they're in the Falcon.
I completely missed that. What the fuck?
She opens a drawer on the Falcon. This is like really near the end, and they are in there.
Just a little kind of breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
So, yeah.
I did completely miss that.
It took me, I saw the books and I was like, wait, are they? They are. I see what they did there.
I wonder if she took all of them.
I think she did. But, so Yoda turns up, and in a thing that I'm not a huge fan of, specifically, I didn't think that Force Ghosts could have an impact on the real world, and yet Yoda produces some lightning because Luke is having second thoughts about burning the tree, and sets the tree on fire. Now, I didn't think Force Ghosts could have any sort of influence on the real world apart from actually just talking to people. So
no, I
this
didn't
might
think so
not be
either.
a thing that's completely like out of canon. But
no, I mean when you think about it though, right? Like you could say they're existing just on another plane of existence, right? It's not like they're just magically existing in this kind of spiritual, funky world. They're just existing on another plane of existence. So if you're still existing, perhaps they can still influence the Force. You know, to me, it's not a big sticking point. Like, I feel like you could kind of explain it away fairly easily. But it's a cool scene nonetheless. And I thought it was a real cool tie into the original trilogy, especially with in the kind of sense that he actually came back in was, one, the puppet form, and two, he came back to essentially mentor Luke again. He came in at the right point in time. Luke was just going, I'm going to burn the temple down. Yoda's like, don't even worry about it. I'll freaking do it for you. And he literally sits Luke down and mentors him, and he sorts his headspace out again, saying, you're all twisted up. You're lost in the moment, you know, and he gave him perspective on, you know, forget about the past, focus on what's in front of you, and that's Rey, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, as always, Yoda is the wise teacher. I mean, he wasn't in the prequels, but we'll forget about that.
Can't save them all.
No. But yes, Yoda does a thing, and I think overall that was a very good scene. And the little throwaway line, which I thought was quite good in the end, was, there's nothing in that temple that she doesn't already possess, because she has the books. Do you get it?
Very true, and it only just sinks in. It's just a double whammy, isn't it?
I love
she already
that.
knows, and she has the books. Yeah, that was totally
At
cool.
the time, that line was like, oh, that's quite profound and nice. And then when you actually see the books, you're like,
yeah, that's what I'm like right now. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, devious little bastard.
Yeah, the whole scene was really good though. Like I was actually honestly not expecting it either. It was just bam.
It was really nice to see. Yeah, I'm glad that it was Yoda and not anyone else. Like if it had been Obi-Wan, it'd have been really disingenuous. But
yeah, because he didn't really have that same kind of rapport, you know, relationship with Ben. But it was really well done. I loved it. And usually when you get scenes like that, you hear rumors or something. Like, oh, Yoda's going to be in the new movie, and you're kind of expecting it. No, just complete pleasant surprise.
It's like, poof, Puppet Yoda, he's got some wisdom.
Yep, there we go.
Poof, Puppet Yoda's gone. Oh, okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't in there for
that's
too long.
burning down.
It was perfect. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just the right amount of time. Really nice. Yep, temple's gone. I thought the book's gone. Apparently not. Yeah. So Luke's headspace is all somewhat kind of resolved by this point. Yeah, rebalanced, giving him some new direction.
Yeah.
Rather than just being a hermit island man drinking strange milk from strange weird aliens.
It's not strange milk. It's the same milk from the first film.
No shit, is it really?
Well, it's a very similar milk because he really likes that milk, and they had to have a callback.
He fucking loves it, man. I guarantee he drinks that straight out the titty when no one's around.
Oh god. Oh god. But anyway, back to the ship. The ship.
And it's going to get choppy at this point because a lot of shit converges at this point.
A lot is happening. To be honest, the second act, slow and a bit dull. The third act, fucking hell.
Bang,
that was
bang, bang, bang.
Bosh. That third act clicks so hard. It's so good.
Fuck.
I love pretty much all of it. At this point, all the rebel ships, two of the three rebel ships run out of fuel and they've been gunned down, which doesn't really make any sense because inertia, but whatever, we'll let them off. And the third one is about to run out of fuel, but there is a plan. There's a planet nearby, which for some reason the First Order didn't spot. You'd think they would, and go, hey, that might be something we should guard just in case, but, you know, they didn't.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, that might be it, to be honest. That happens. So there's this planet. It's got an old rebel base on it, and they're going to use that to signal the people in the outlying systems that the rebellion is still alive and that they should join them. And
this is the granddaddy plan of Leia.
This is the plan.
The Jurassic Park girl with purple hair too, which we're just hearing about, all of us.
We're just hearing about it, which, admittedly, that's a bit dumb, but it makes sense, but it's dumb. This is their grand plan, is to go to this planet. And the big ship is used as the decoy while the rest of them escape undetected. This does...
Why? But okay.
No, it's actually, if you actually think about it, it's incredibly easy for something like small transport ships to go undetected
to get lost in
the
dark of space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is incredibly easy for that to happen. If you actually...
You just think with all their advanced technology and scanners or something, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking of Star Trek or something like that. But
however, this does happen.
Yes,
the plan goes tits up, like all plans in this film, which may or may not be intentional. It feels like it was intentional, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is just an excuse. But no, I think it is intentional that all of the plans in this film went tits up.
Especially Pose.
Yeah. So this plan goes tits up, they get spotted, and they're all getting gunned down, and it's not good. Meanwhile, Rey is sort of pleading with Kylo and trying to get him to change to the light side. However, now a thing happens that's a bit weird. You know, Snoke gets killed by Kylo Ren.
Oh, just lay it on us, man.
He gets
Jesus,
he gets
no
killed by
build-up.
Kylo Ren.
Oh, he does. Dead.
By, like, he moves his lightsaber with the Force and then just goes, poof, and he's dead.
Did you like this scene?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I did like this scene. I do think he got killed too soon.
Oh, maybe
but
in the third
the
this would have been a good killing.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Fantastic way for him to die. Like, kind of at that point in time where he realizes he can't convert Rey. Yeah, and he's like, all right, well, okay,
he's like, I still got you, Kylo. Oh, shit, I'm dead.
Yeah, whatever he calls Kylo, his Padawan, whatever the hell he calls him, apprentice. He's like, all right, well...
faithful apprentice.
Exactly. Kill Rey, kill her down with the lightsaber. This is after Rey's, been flung around the room a couple of times and kind of semi-tortured.
Like, hey, you're gonna...
all that shit.
Yeah, Kylo, kill this person, and then...
Yeah, Kylo's kind of looking like he's going to kill her. We all know he won't, but... Well,
but then there's been... The thing is, there's been seeds of conflict in Kylo for the whole film. It was started by Snoke being like, ha, you're a disappointment, I hate you. And, you know, his conversation with Rey and this have been feeding this kind of conflict in the whole film, and then...
Yep.
This exchange...
We all knew it was coming.
This exchange makes him realise, no, Snoke is not what I need in my life. And he kills Snoke. And...
Yeah, and the way he does it is very cool, which I can't remember if we explained or not. At this point in time, Snoke just has a lightsaber that he's kind of forced taken from Rey, sitting on this little armchair rest. Yeah, Luke's lightsaber, which he took from the island. And Kylo's kind of sneakily twisted it around to face him in the chair, and at the point in time where he should kill Rey, he activates the lightsaber on the chair, and it literally cuts Snoke in half.
Yeah.
Just like that.
And then the top half of his body just falls off. It
was incredibly graphic and satisfying. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be quite so graphic, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really
graphic,
good.
Yeah. Really cool. But I mean, it's something worth noting as well. At this point in time as well, I knew that, I think, based on Kylo's character in this film, not so much The Force Awakens, because I think he could have gone either way, back to the light or the dark. But in this film, I thought he was killing him for his motives, and it wasn't a sign that he was reverting to the Resistance or the light.
Exactly.
This is the classic Darth Vader, join me, son, and we'll rule the galaxy together, which is exactly what this scene transpires into.
Yeah. The thing is, while I do actually think Snoke was killed too soon, it does make sense to have Kylo, the way they've set it up to have Kylo as the main villain in the final piece. It does actually make a lot of sense. Like, it works in both directions. Like, it could have worked with Snoke surviving this. It could have worked with him dying.
Yeah.
Like, it works both ways because of how they portray Kylo afterwards. He's like, no,
100%.
I'm not joining the light side. I just want to rule everything now. I want to control everything myself instead of having someone else control it above me.
It's Anakin and Darth Vader all over again. And I agree. Like, it would have been... my only regret with this kind of scene and what transpired in this movie was maybe we built it up for ourselves. Maybe Snoke was a placeholder. Maybe J.J. Abrams did build it up too much for us. And, Rian Johnson's gone in a completely different creative direction with the story. But some kind of explanation or answer for who Snoke was or where he came from, or at least how long he's been pulling the strings, would have been nice.
There wasn't enough explanation for Snoke. Maybe that'll happen in the next movie.
There's none.
No, there wasn't any.
Maybe
it'll happen in the next movie, but we don't know that. It's a bit of an anticlimax, him dying. But anyway, this does lead to what is simultaneously one of the best lightsaber fights in the whole of Star Wars, but also one of the most nonsensical.
Oh boy.
Right.
That.
Riddle me this.
Yes.
Why,
lay on the issue, because I haven't seen it.
Why do the Red Guards attack Kylo? How did they see him move the lightsaber and activate it with the Force?
Well,
also,
I mean, I'm assuming, yeah.
Also, he killed Snoke. Why would they not then go, oh shit, he's second in command. That means we now have to obey him.
Yep, that second one could be a bit of a plot hole. Or maybe, they quite simply brainwash servants.
They're so loyal to him. Yeah, but,
I mean, what if they're
we're not told this.
No, it's not explained. I mean, I didn't actually think about that, actually, but you bring up a good point. I assumed it was just a knee-jerk reaction to, all right, he's just killed Snoke, so he's probably going to fuck us up too, and they're all just going balls to the wall on him.
It makes sense for them to go for Rey, because she's obviously, it's obvious that she might have done it. Like, that's who you'd jump to the assumption of, is the person who's quite clearly not in any way remotely loyal to Snoke.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a good probably 5 seconds where they all stood around too. Like, you weren't sure what was going to happen. Was Rey going to raise her lightsaber against Kylo? Was Kylo going to raise it against her? What were the red dudes going to do? The dudes guarding Snoke. There was that pause where you're like you could kind of almost cut the air with a knife, almost. Yeah. It's like, what's going to happen? And I'm assuming, just one of them made a move for Kylo and the rest followed suit. They thought they were just going to get cut down as well. But that was a lit as fuck lightsaber battle.
Oh, it was so good. And then the ending shit. I actually loved, where Rey throws Luke's lightsaber and he just goes straight through the guy's head. That was real good. I loved that.
It was just instantaneous as well, like caught bang dead.
Yeah.
And we're talking I'm assuming everybody's listening to this has seen the movie, but for some reason you're listening to this, like Alex, if you just want to hear what we have to say and you're never going to see a Star Wars film, like we're talking there's some highly trained, elite guards hanging around Snoke, and there was probably about 10 of them, all with different kind of
lightsaber resistant
lightsaber
weapons,
whips and all kinds of crazy shit. Like they looked badass. These guys looked like the top of the line shit. Like if you were a Jedi and you saw one of these dudes, you'd probably just turn around the corner and walk away. Like they looked lit as fuck, and they brought the goods. They put Rey and Kylo, to the test. At least a couple of the guys that were good enough to hang around to the end.
It didn't feel like Rey and Kylo were just mowing the
carving them up. No,
that's not what it felt like. It felt like they were actually struggling.
Yeah, I mean, let's give them some credit and to Kylo and Rey. Like they're not fully fledged trained Sith or Jedi yet. So especially Rey, the lightsaber skills aren't, perfected like you'd have in the prequel trilogy with Sith running rampant and freaking Jedi running rampant. But it was a really even fight. Like it was like watching a pub brawl with knives. Like it was quite actually graphic and brutal, really. There was a couple of scenes where they just cut away in time, but you still saw the head roll off the body. Like it was like, woof.
Yeah, it was
damn
amazing. And then after this fight,
beautifully shot.
It was very well shot. Everything about that fight was pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
In the aftermath of this fight, with just them two left in this room, Kylo Ren tries to convert Rey to not the dark side, but his side, and be
ruling the galaxy.
Yes, hey, we can rule the galaxy together. We'll be amazing. It'll be a real good time. And then she's just like, nope. And they end up fighting over Luke's lightsaber, and they're trying to pull it to each other with the Force. And
just quickly as well. Oh. We've glossed over something small here. Well, not so small.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me of the boy who got broken up with and becomes a dick to his, ex-girlfriend, right? Because when she says no, he starts kind of teasing her. I've got to stop with all these sexual references. Starts teasing her with what her heritage was, right? He's like, do you want to know, like, who your parents are, Rey? And he gets real snarky about it.
Yes.
He's like, nobody.
I forgot
They were
about
nobody.
This. Yeah.
They sold you for random credits to slavers on Jakku. So he gets real snarky about it. And that's apparently who we're led to believe is Rey's real heritage, is just basically nobody.
I like that.
So, like, we're going, I like it too, you know? And again, this all kind of arcs back into... There's a bit of a kind of sticking controversial point in the film as well, much like we had with Luke and a couple of other points that we've already covered with the fandom. Not liking this because Snoke was another big one, because JJ did kind of leave these breadcrumbs and they've kind of just been, you know, tossed aside a little bit, at least literally Luke's
guess
lightsaber.
What? Different
Snoke
directors can do different things. Goodness me.
Exactly. And, you know, who's to say that I don't really believe they've been disregarded. Except maybe Snoke, maybe a little bit. That would have been nice. But I think
there's not much else they can do with that, unless he's going to come back like Darth Maul did in the Clone Wars with half a body.
Who knows? He looked pretty dead, man. They had a scene where they literally cut back to his face and he was like drooling all over the floor.
Oh yeah, he looks pretty damn dead to me.
He looks like a dead. He looked like Jabba the Hutt dead, like with his tongue hanging out.
Oh yeah.
But no, I liked where they took Rey. You know, they kind of teased us a little bit with, who were her parents, and you know what? They're nobody. Yeah. She's just a Force-sensitive user.
That's the thing.
Why
does it have to be? Like,
exactly.
One of the points of this movie is, hey, you don't have to be from this special family or like special heritage to be a special person.
Mm-hmm.
You can you can be a special person without having to come from all this, from the Skywalker family or from whatever else. Like,
or Obi-Wan or whatever.
You can just be some random fuck and you have Force powers.
And you know what? You know where it all started? You know, and this might arc back to, maybe this is where they got it from. It started with Anakin.
It did, because he was just a fuckwit on Tatooine.
Yeah. Exactly. And now we're seeing history repeat itself with Rey.
Exactly. So, you know, a lot of the people who moan about this obviously just don't... They obviously just don't think.
They've been over-analysing and hyping kind of post-Force Awakens too much.
I think they
Going
have.
down the fan theories too much. They're just exciting themselves too much. When in reality, this is a perfectly acceptable outcome.
Yeah,
you know?
It works.
It doesn't have to be complicated.
No problem with it.
Their parents were nobody.
Exactly.
Okay, there's your answers, Rey. She gets a little bit of closure. You know, hopefully, we believe she probably got a little bit of closure from that scene. It's not exactly portrayed as to what she felt after immediately.
No, not that she really had much time for that, but you know.
No, it was kind of, it went balls up real quick.
It did, because while they're fighting over Luke's lightsaber, Miss Pink-haired lady, I can never remember her character's name.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It starts with a H or something. Something.
Hogan? That's Hulk Hogan I'm thinking of.
Nah.
Star Wars.
Getting on the Google.
Star Wars Hogwarts houses. Well done, Google. That's what I wanted.
It's not what we want.
Anyway, this lady, to try and save the rest of the evacuation, like shuttles that are all being blown up around us. Fortunately, no named characters are on any of the ones that get blown up. How convenient. She turns the ship around. She makes it look like she's escaping. She powers up her hyperspace drive, FTL drive, whatever they call it. Turns the ship around, and in what is one of my favourite visually stunning pieces of cinematography, it is so good looking. Activates the hyperspace, goes through the ships. Like, through Snoke's flagship, through the Star Destroyers. You don't see it, like, in a big explosion. You see, basically, like, a shatter
just
pattern
torn to pieces
of where this has gone through, and the remnants of the ship had then crashed off and gone into the Star Destroyers. It is... I was like, oh my fucking God, that is stunning.
It's amazing. There's like the point of impact, like the pinhead at the front, and then it just V-shapes out through the rest of the fleet, and it's like watching reflective glass just piss through everything.
It just
like
gives me tingles.
They give us those big broad shots, like we're talking. If you've ever seen Battlestar Galactica,
it's like that.
Sit out and you spectate everything all at once on the perfect angle in the perfect lighting, and it's just, and there's silence. You don't hear anything.
which is how it should have been anyway. Complete silence, just... And it's just like...
You hear a pin drop.
Oh my god! That's amazing!
It was perfect. Like, so breathtaking and no audio to convey any of it. Yet it worked perfectly. Like, it was just like...
Wonderful.
This scene was the jaw drop scene.
That is literally my favourite moment of the film. I loved the film as a whole. That bit, though, fucking floored me. I was just like, holy shit. Give all of the money to the VFX people who made that scene.
You knew she was doing it with the ship when she turned it around, and you thought, okay, there's going to be a big explosion. She's going to ram him. But nobody was... I don't think anybody was expecting this.
Just like... Oh my god, yes. Well done. I'm actually giving him a round of applause. Well done.
Yeah. Two badass as hell scenes, like, back to back.
Yeah.
We had the lightsaber battle of this scene.
To be honest, I'd have been happy with the film cutting to black at that point. Amazing.
Oh. I mean, I mean, like, the movie actually carried on for a significant amount of time.
I know, this is like 3/4 of the way through the film.
There's another solid half hour and maybe change to go. Like, it felt like they could have wrapped it up, I felt, fairly quickly at this point.
Probably what made it feel like that is because of the overlong second act.
Yeah.
That could have been a really great start of Act 3.
Yeah.
That's what it could have been, but it wasn't. So, that's what we're left with. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
So, to recap us, we have Kylo and Rey literally force pulling a lightsaber. That's now been... It's blown up.
It's been broken in half.
Yep.
And
the ship
Rey
plows through the
half,
fleet. That gets...
It's all,
Yep, and the ship rams all the rest of the First Order fleet, and that's just gone that's gone balls up now. It's all gone.
Yeah.
The fleet's making its way down to the planet. They land, and where do we go next? Where are we going?
Well, we then have a scene on the burning flagship with Rey fighting Phasma, who is still alive. She
Not
survived.
Rey, Finn.
Shut up. Yeah, Phasma, who didn't die in the trash compactor, because nobody dies in trash compactors, remember, decided that instead of fleeing the ship, she was going to hunt down Finn. She hates him that much, which I kind of get. She's got a good enough reason to hate him.
Yeah, this is almost after they've just been busted as well. Like, we've cut away from them.
Like, they were about to be killed and then ship dead, and they all get separated. And they have a fight. Finn gets the weird little shoo-chunk swirly thing that TR-8R had.
It's like a baton with a weird ass
spin
handle.
That thing that was in The Force Awakens, the guy that said traitor.
A little bit of an underwhelming fight when you've just come off the back of the lightsaber battle.
I mean, placed at another point in the film, it would have been like, oh, that's right, that's a really good fight. But it happened to be there following something really cool, so it felt a little bit less cool, but at the same time, it's quite good. And then BB-8 came in on an AT-ST and killed Phasma, or whatever. Oh, no, he didn't. No, Phasma fell into some fire, and BB-8 came in on an AT-ST and saved Rose and Finn.
Yeah, this is another scene that I thought was a little bit...
What I would have preferred is the codebreaker doing a Lando and coming back and changing his mind.
So that's what I thought was going to happen.
That's what I thought it was going to be, and then it got, like, the head got ripped off and it was BB-8, and I was like...
To be honest, that would have been more realistic.
I mean, it's not... Considering
BB-8
the amount of little handy things that BB-8 can bring out of himself, it's not unrealistic that he could handle an AT-ST, but it's a bit weird.
I mean, the fact that this droid has the capability and the kind of mental capacity to, all right, well, I need to go hijack this vehicle to save my buddies.
And then mow down a load of people. This is a cute droid, and he's just mowed down about 50 stormtroopers. It's like,
he's just strolled through all the fire, the debris, and he's hijacked this AT-AT. Yeah. And it's another moment in the film for me that was just too cutesy.
The intelligence isn't beyond my scope, because droids are shown to be basically self-aware and intelligent in this universe. So, I've got no problem with that bit. I have a problem with the whole BB-8 mowing down loads of people.
Yeah, it was just a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah,
why couldn't you just pick up like a little kind of warehouse vehicle, like a forklift, and pick them up and drive?
Yeah. But they use this ATST to get to a ship that hasn't been burned yet and escape to the planet. And it's not shown, but Rey has been picked up by Chewie in the Millennium Falcon at some point while Kylo Ren was knocked out. He gets awoken by General Hux, who we've not actually talked about, even though he has quite a significant role in the film, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's a background, but significant background role.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, his character's just very similar and reminiscent to The Force Awakens. Yeah. He's kind of a little bit power hungry,
over the top, power
hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, butthurt that Kylo's kind of in front of him,
and he doesn't
somewhat
like it.
With
yeah,
the favor of Snoke, and he's like, "This is my army," and blah 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 blah. You do what I say, and really, he's just the bitch.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the secondary cast, but he's still like important. But anyway, he wakes Kylo up. He's like, "What the fuck happened here?" Basically, and Kylo lies and says that Rey killed Snoke, and that they should chase them down to that planet, which they do. And they bring down a big fuck-off laser, because it's always big fuck-off lasers in Star Wars.
Big cannons, big lasers. And this is essentially like the I keep on trying to call them the rebels.
The Resistance's last stand.
The spark of the rebellion has made it down to this base, which essentially, like, it's this big fuck-off.
It's a big cave with a big door on it.
Thingy. We're talking, like, kind of like when you rock up to Jabba the Hutt's palace, like those big metal doors that come down.
Yeah.
Except times 1,000.
Yeah, it's a cave with a big metal door and some trenches in front. That's what it is.
It's a massive blast shelter thingy. Yeah.
And it's got a big ass receiver or transmitter on it, which they're using to transmit the signal that the Resistance is alive and they should all join in. They don't get any responses, which is a bit of a shame. Oh no, what a shame. Failure, the theme of the film. And to counteract this big fuck-off laser, they don't have a lot of weapons, funnily enough. And all these, there's some modernized AT-ATs with slightly better, presumably better legs.
Counterweights on their feet.
Yeah, exactly. So that they're less
They look cool, though.
They do look cool. They look a bit like gorillas in the way that...
I was about to say that, like the knuckles. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what it looks like. It's quite interesting.
I like it.
So... this big fuck-off laser is going to punch a hole through this door, and then they're fucked, basically. So to counteract this, they've got some weird...
There's like 3 left at this point.
Yeah, they've got some weird...
it feels like it.
Pond skimmer things. That... like, they're pond skimmers, but they're on the ground, and... I get what, like, those are supposed to be stabilizers that go into the salt. But at the same time, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
No, it's the equivalent of riding into battle on a shopping cart trolley.
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
Or it's like going into a naval battle with a yacht.
Yeah. Or a canoe or something.
So anyway,
like, it was just
in fact, it is basically, it's the same design as a yacht, because that's a keel that's going down, but it's just on land and it doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
They're basically painting a picture of they are fucked.
What they wanted to do with those things... someone had the idea of something kicking up, like the salt and whatever.
The salt.
And they had to build something around that, because they're like, oh shit, there's no actual land vehicles in Star Wars. Everything floats. Yeah. So they had to build something around that idea, and it looks... and I can see why. It looks good.
That location was phenomenal. Like, what they did with the visuals. Like, we're talking, it's like a planet... just covered in salt, so it all looks white. It looks very reminiscent of... and
then underneath there's like this red rock, whatever it is.
Red dirt, yeah. So these things, these kind of stabilizers plow into the kind of earth, the surface, and as they kind of track along, they spit up, they cut through the salt layer, and they spit up all the red dirt underneath. So you get that contrast between like pure white and bright, vibrant red. And damn, every single time something happens on the surface, it looks good.
Which again, it looks good, but functionally it's dumb.
Yeah,
I'm just putting that out there. Functionally, it makes no sense. But anyway, so they're doing all this, and they're running around. They have to get these are really tiny guns. They have to get within range and shoot right down the barrel of this gun, this big fuck off laser, to
door
shut
ram
it down.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, because it's heavily armored everywhere else. So yeah, that makes sense. They're doing this run. They're getting mowed down a lot by the TIE fighters that came along. And then the Millennium Falcon comes along and it's like, hey, yes! The Millennium Falcon. This ship that's 40 years old and should be massively outclassed. But we all know that Kylo Ren hates that ship because, of course, it was his dad's ship, because, of course, he hates it. And he's like, every TIE fighter after that ship, and he sends them all after it, and they go down a mine. And because Chewie's a really good pilot, they all survive and all the TIE fighters die. Again, though, that ship should be... It was a good
scene. It was a really good scene.
It was a really good scene, really well done, visually nice, and it makes sense. Except
the Porgs.
Except for the Porgs, yeah. But at the same time, that ship should be massively outclassed in almost every aspect, because it is 40 years old.
But do you reckon it matters? Like, we're going on a bit of a tangent here. I'm gonna just want to debate it. Do you reckon it matters? Like, we're so far like into kind of the sci-fi future that is a ship just a ship, or do you reckon it's just outclassed because TIE fighters are more
past?
Sci-fi past, whatever you want to call it. Right?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll give you that. My bad. But do you reckon just at this point, like, a ship's a ship? Do you reckon, like, it's in space, like, it's maneuverable as anything else in space? Do you reckon it's been modified? Like, I know Han Solo, they did.
It's definitely modified. Like there is a YouTube video explaining this in eye-crushing detail. I agree, though.
I agree, though. Like, in terms of it being under the influence of gravity on this planet and flying through those small spaces, either... the Millennium Falcon can definitely 100% fit through all those spaces, and Chewie's a badass as fuck flyer. Or two, they just bend kind of whatever space to, it just happens to fit, whatever. And the TIE fighter pilots are just awful flyers, all of them. They can't fly a ship to save their lives.
They wouldn't be there if they were awful flyers.
I know, that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's just...
I don't know, there's... Whenever there's a chase
They're fucking TIE fighters.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, they should be able to get through all these spaces. It's become like kind of this running joke that, well, it feels like now that, the Millennium Falcon's got into a space that's almost too small for it. I guess they're going to survive because the TIE fighters are going to blow up.
Yeah. The thing is, like, in universe, it makes sense with the TIE fighters. TIE fighters are designed to be very... easy and cheap to mass produce, therefore they are not actually technically very good ships, which is why, like, they have a really awful, it's called a shadow, or like a profile, basically. They have a really awful side-on profile, because it's a massive area that you can hit quite easily. From the front, rear, and above and below, really good profile. That makes sense. It's like there's almost nothing there, because it's like the ball and then the really thin bits. But from the side, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, they are designed poorly because they're kind of cheap and cheerful. We need to get a ton of these out, and just their tactic is to overwhelm with numbers, not actual skill. So, it makes sense and it doesn't make sense in a way. But anyway, so that takes all the TIE fighters out of commission, and instead of sort of joining in for the rest of that fight, they fuck off to some rocks.
Yeah. That was really weird.
Like, they see the crystal wolves escaping, which are really well designed. I'll admit, they're really cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
And they're like, oh, look at that. And we don't really get any hint as to what that is just yet.
Do you feel that, just to cut back briefly again, how do you feel, like, in this movie, right, we know that certain characters take the backseat, like the original cast being Luke, Leia, and Han in the, not so much The Force Awakens, but definitely in these two, Luke and Leia, they take a bit of a backseat, the original cast, and the droids too, and Chewie. They kind of just support cast, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the Falcon got the same treatment in this movie? Like, because I don't feel like the Falcon got kind of its time. It had a cool traditional... It had its cool
moment, but that was it. It wasn't like...
It was just a stock standard Falcon scene where it goes through a tight space and it has a chase scene, right?
Maybe.
But I felt like the Falcon was underutilized. Like, it just didn't have that time to shine like it has in all the other movies.
Well, the thing is, this whole series of films so far is, like, one of the points of it is to hand Star Wars off to a new generation of people.
Yeah.
Because, of course, everyone's getting old, so you can't have stories with Luke Skywalker and 100%. Leia and Han anymore. It doesn't make sense to do that.
I get why they're phasing out the droids and all that kind of stuff as well, and even Chewie to a degree. But it's like the iconic ship, like the Falcon. Like,
I know.
Almost as
do you know what
entrenched in pop culture as the Enterprise.
Yeah. Well, I have a Millennium Falcon, not in this room. I have it in my bedroom at the moment, like a little metal one. It's really, really quite cute.
I've seen that. It looks cool.
So it's. I get that. I have a prediction for the next film that they're going to kill. Well, they're going to blow up the Falcon and kill Chewie. I wouldn't want them to do that, but that's what I think they're going to do.
Oh, you're a dark man.
Oh, we already know that. That's nothing new. That's not new information. Of course,
no,
I'm a dark person.
They can't blow up the Falcon.
Yes, they can. That is literally that is the only way they can raise the stakes, inverted commas, by killing something that iconic.
They're going to kill Chewie and the Falcon.
Yeah.
That's just rubbing salt in the wounds of the Han death.
I think what they're going to do is have Chewie make a noble sacrifice with the Falcon. That's what they'll do. They'll give him a heroic moment.
No, just let him live peacefully. Let him just disappear.
Chewie's going to die.
I just haven't even thought about that, the Falcon blowing up. They're going to pull an Enterprise or something, and they're going to rebuild it. rail by the next model up.
Maybe.
No.
So yeah, that's.
I'm gonna make a prediction now.
That they
won't blow up. They're not going to blow up the Falcon, but Chewie might die.
Tell you what, shall we bet a game on it then?
All right, let's bet a Steam game on it.
Yeah.
Up to the value of $20. £20.
Oh. Well, that's just cheating. £20 is like $40.
Okay, we'll go £10.
Okay, I can deal with that.
We'll go the under 10 category on Steam. How does that sound?
Go for it.
Is there an under £10 category?
There's an under...
Right.
What is it?
£7?
Under
10 AUD?
Yeah. Come here,
We'll roll with that. We'll internet shake over that.
Yeah,
later.
I can't quite tell because the Steam sale takes up the whole fucking store page. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. The details.
We'll bet that on it.
The Falcon will not blow up.
It's on video format, so we can't back out now. Except we can, but we're
people
not going
will hold me accountable.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we? Who are we?
Let's
yes.
Carry on.
Yes.
The Falcon just landed.
Carrie Fisher. Ha ha ha. Yeah, the Falcons just found the wolves escaping and from this thing, and they're like, what's happening there? And in the meantime, Mr. Luke Skywalker has returned. Or so we think. Mr. Skywalker has returned. He walks into the bunker and has a conversation with Leia, and
bit of a cutesy moment, but it was really nice. I think.
I thought it was nice. It made sense.
It felt very reminiscent of their kind of some of their.
Well,
conversations
that felt like
trilogy.
a really good goodbye, and what should have been a goodbye for Luke ended up being a goodbye for Carrie Fisher. I think. Yeah. So it was quite nice.
Yeah.
And then he has a wink at C-3PO, who probably knew that he wasn't actually there because C-3PO could probably sense life signs and heartbeats.
And that's why he winked. And
exactly.
C-3PO, for the first time in his life, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. But yeah, he gave Leia Han's dice. Look, they made a big deal out of the dice. They maybe shouldn't have. Yeah, they were there in the first film for like a few... They were there. They weren't noticeable. But yeah, they tried to sort of...
I didn't get the significance
the first
time I watched it.
I know, I didn't get the significance, and then someone told me that they were in the first film. I was like, oh, okay.
Cool.
But yeah, that was a bit... They're trying to manufacture some sort of thing that maybe didn't need to be a thing. There's probably something else they could have used instead. But, so...
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Han left his jacket on the Falcon or something. Like, give her that. Don't know, anything.
I don't know, anything like that. So, yeah, he's then like, I've got a plan, don't worry, I'm going to go out and face them. And in what is a really cool moment, Kylo Ren sees Luke and he's like, holy shit, fire everything at that man. And then Hux, in what is probably a sort of wise thing to say, is like, are you fucking kidding me? It's one guy, you want everyone to fire at that man. And then Kylo force throws him against the wall. And he's like, yes, do it!
There's a significant amount of artillery.
There's a good 10 to 15 seconds of every single gun in the vicinity firing on that spot.
Hoth level amount of artillery, right?
And then they're just fucking mowing it. And it's like, oh, holy shit. And you'd think that'd be quite a good thing. It's like, hey, I'm going to be an amazing person. Oh, I'm dead. And you'd think, that'd be quite funny. And then he just walks out the dust and he just brushes his shoulder. That just made me laugh.
Which is so cool, yeah. I love that little like brush stroke as well.
Yeah.
Like it felt more Mark Hamill-y than Luke, but it was really
still
good.
Pretty cool.
It was awesome. But to before we kind of put the pin in this movie with the last badass scene, the Finn charge on the cannon.
Oh yeah, fuck, that happened, didn't it? Yeah, he tried to. Everyone else was like, "Oh shit, no, this is failing. We need to go back." And then
with their assault on the cannon.
And then he did what Poe did earlier in the film, and he was like, "No, I must do this." And he also felt like he kind of needed to die. And I kind of get that. Where he's
he was suicide running the cannon, essentially.
He was gonna. This is after, because his gun
after the Falcon pulled all the TIE fighters away and everyone backed off. The cannon charges up and he makes a suicide run.
Yeah, and his like guns are sort of they've buckled and he can't use them, so he's like, oh shit, I've got to suicide this. And he's nearly there, which would have worked, bear in mind.
Fuck yeah, it would have.
Which would have been actually quite a good character arc. Like, that would have been a good character arc for that. I wouldn't have minded him dying.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed with the way that
I'm annoyed that he
out.
Didn't die, because it's like, hey, Rose saved him, and she's like, I love you, and kisses him, while in the background of that fucking shot, the rebel base is being cracked open like a fucking egg by that laser. Fuck you, Rose. I like Rose on the whole as a character. She's a bit hammy and overdone in her morals, but she's not bad. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Rose. We've got to save the people we love, she says, while a lot of the other people she loves are about to be killed because the base has been cracked open.
This is the girl who chose the horses when time was of the essence, saving the horses on the casino planet.
Yeah, something tells me her sort of...
She's not screwed on right.
Yeah, her idea of... Well, admittedly, she just lost her sister. It's not portrayed that, apart from like the first scene, it's not portrayed that that's affected her too much.
Well, you never even saw her sister, to the best of my knowledge.
No, we did. She was the one who she was the one who set off the bombs.
Okay.
Like she was the one who like the only bomb ship left. The captain died. She was struggling to get on the ladder, and then she's like, quick, I've got it," and releases it. That's her. That's her sister, because she's wearing the matching. Gotcha. She's wearing the second part of that necklace.
Gotcha. All right, so that's what that plays in.
There you go.
Okay, so, but, you know, I can't remember if we covered it already, but she essentially collides with Finn on his suicide run in her ship, knocks him out of the way, and then, you know, like you said, the laser essentially pretty much cracks open the door. But while that's happening, we get this kind of really weird... I, at the time, couldn't tell whether it was a poorly done death scene or not. She kind of gives her speech.
It looked like a death scene, and then she was brought back like, oh, she's hurt, she's hurt. I was like, oh, she's alive, is she? Okay.
I thought that was probably the poorest handled part of the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was really, it wasn't even under the cutesy kind of scene. It was just a bad scene. Like, she gave this bullshit speech about saving the friends while the friends were, you know, literally being cracked open. Really, she should have let Finn suicide run it, so Finn saved the day. And I thought that would have been not playing it safe and really rolling the dice, and it probably would have had some impact if, holy shit, Finn just died in the second movie saving the day. That would have been pretty cool, I think.
That would have been really great. It's like, hey, this guy died.
It would have had impact.
He found his purpose because he saved the rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of broke his way out of kind of this brainwashing of the stormtroopers, found the rebellion, and he had a role to play. And I don't think anyone would have seen it coming, and it would have brought impact to the story, which I think probably was actually lacking a little bit come the end of the day and the end of the movie. But instead, Rose saves him, gives her speech, and then she gives him this peck on the lips, and it looks like she has a bad death scene. Like, it looks like she dies.
Yeah, and then she doesn't.
No.
So, okay.
Yep.
Right. Whatever. That's a
Cut
thing.
back to Luke, the cool shit.
Yeah,
anyway,
let's leave the bullshit behind. So, yeah, Luke walks out of the big sort of crater left by the fire. And he's like... And then, so, Kylo is like, right, I'm going to go get him myself. perfectly sane response. But then, of course, he's seen someone that he thought tried to kill him, so he might not be in the best frame of mind. Let's be fair about this.
Often never is.
No, exactly. Also, one cool little thing to note that I didn't pick up on, Luke Skywalker, because, spoilers, he's not actually there, he doesn't make any marks in the salt. Yes.
I picked that up.
I didn't pick that up for the first time, and I was like, I found out about it, because, like, that guy walked across, didn't he? Before, when they were in the trenches, a guy walked, and then someone else saw the footprint. It's like, oh, it's salt. And nothing from Luke. And I was like, I didn't pick that up, and I was like,
there's
holy shit.
There's a scene as well where it looks like he intentionally, when he takes kind of that first step or move on the salt, where he intentionally lifts a leg up, and it looks like he's intentionally carrying it over so that he's not disturbing the salt, and he carefully places it again, because everything he does on that salt, it looks very calculated.
Yeah.
And like cautious, like he's trying to move, like he's not trying to disturb the environment.
Yeah.
Which I think was a bit of a cool kind of thing, that he was aware that he could tip him off if he's not careful.
But then at the same time, I don't think he would have noticed anyway, because...
No, because he's a hothead.
Yeah. Because he's too sort of distracted with the fact that Luke Skywalker's there and he really wants to kill Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. So, and to make it clear to everyone, again, who is not in the know, Luke is projecting himself with the Force.
Yes, from Luke Skywalker Island, he is projecting, which is fucking cool.
Luke Skywalker Island. It is cool. And it's kind of what Snoke does with Rey and Kylo, where they see each other in their locations as well. But Luke's doing
another little thing, it is not unheard of. This has happened before, so people are saying, this breaks canon, it's completely stupid, it's not something that can you do with the Force. Yes, you can. It's been done before. It's been done in things that are still considered canon, not even the stuff that's just legends now. So,
I agree. It was cool.
Yeah.
So,
and also, one thing that I didn't pick up on, he looks about 10 years younger in that scene.
Yes.
I love that it's got a bit of vanity to him. He doesn't turn up looking like beardy weirdy. He's like trimmed up. Because I didn't pick up on it the first time. I was like, wait, he's had a haircut?
Yeah. I thought that was good. See, that was really good. I picked up on that, and I thought it served a purpose and that purpose was to be exactly how Kylo remembered him, to probably trigger the most emotions out of him, right? Yeah. So this is the last time, he's seeing his master exactly how he remembers him, the guy that tried to kill him. So I thought that was really clever. I liked that.
Yeah, it was really well done. And the fight scene, fucking great.
Yeah.
Like
Limbo Hamill.
Limbo, yeah. It was really well done. And like the reveal that he's not actually there, like the proper reveal is really nicely handled.
If you weren't paying attention, yep.
And it's 100%. Just like, oh my god, he should have died, and he's not dead. And then Kylo's just like, wait a minute. And he's just like, see you around, kid, and disappears. So I was just like, oh my god, yes.
It's after he's cut him and stabbed him once, and he's like, catcha. And it was really well done, the fight scene as well, because Luke he literally just dodges.
Yeah.
Probably 3 to 4 attacks. He just swivels around, dodges. He looks nimble as fuck. And you're like, whoa, okay, this guy's in shape.
Yeah. Whereas if you look at earlier in the film, of course he's not in shape. He got beaten down by Rey, who's untrained. So it makes perfect sense that this was how it was. And so, yeah. And then
another sorry, go on.
But then when you actually see him on the island, you see, like, this is the powerful Luke Skywalker. He's being able to act like the Luke Skywalker from Legend, the one that everyone thinks he is, one last time. But at the same time, he is actually being this great and powerful Jedi, because that is an amazing feat of strength. To be able to project yourself that accurately like that over that distance. That is like a really amazing amount of power just being shown off, that it doesn't look like it is, but it really sort of is in the context of this film. An amazingly powerful act as his last act, and that's what kills him.
Yeah.
Just to save some people.
Literally gave it his all.
He gave it his all, just to save a few people as well.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that, Yoda turned him around, or swayed his headspace enough that he did end up becoming the hero that he, hated so much, or didn't like the romance that was attached to being a hero for the resistance, right? He was literally that sparked the resistance, which will spark the rebellion. I really enjoy that aspect of how he went out too.
Yeah, it was really well handled. I really liked it. I know some people didn't, and fair enough for them, but yeah.
So if you could have it your way, would you change anything with his death scene?
Maybe not.
The entire scene with Kylo.
Maybe not have him hovering. I don't know.
That seems like wasted energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It seems like extra effort being involved, but I don't know. Other than that, I don't know. At the same, while I like that really it was just
he had shown up in the flesh.
But at the same time, if he'd have shown up in the flesh, he'd have just got mowed down immediately.
Maybe. Or maybe he could have just crushed him with the Force. I don't know. Like, who knows how
it doesn't make any sense for that to have worked, because he's out of practice. Like, even with the Force, he's out of practice because he's shut himself out of it for 10, 20 years.
And he's probably, for a while now. Yeah, at least a couple.
So
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, I actually, as much as I would have liked to have seen him gone like full badass, like where he rocks up to like Jabba the Hutt's hideout in the Return of the Jedi, and he just cuts everything down. You're like, damn, Luke, you're a badass.
It just wouldn't have worked in the context of the film and the way this was set up.
The fanboy me wishes that had happened, but I liked the way he went out. I thought it was very respectable, and he served a purpose being that spark. And another really nice touch that I thought was in like his very final moments after, he's tricked Kylo and he saved the day. So when we cut back to, we'll call it, as you said, the Luke Skywalker Island, and he kind of sits back down on the rock.
And he sees the two suns.
And he sees the two suns, and you do honestly get a sense of when he looks out at the two suns on Tatooine, where he's like looking off at the stars, looking for a better future, and there's hope and there's peace at the same time,
Yeah.
I really like that. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah. Really well handled, and caps off the movie quite nicely. The movie goes on for like a little bit longer, just sort of has a small epilogue where they're all escaping in the Falcon. Because
there's not much to it.
Like, they follow where the wolves go. Rey gets the rocks out of the way and they can leave. And really well done. And a really nice little thing. And then like a little epilogue where you find out that one of the slave kids where Finn Rose went turns out to be Force sensitive.
That was a little bit random, that scene, but I think it's just kind of highlighting again that there's always...
It sort of emphasised the thing that it can be anyone. It's just this little kid, and he's Force sensitive because he moves the broom. It was really subtle, but really well done. Like, he just moves the broom without touching it.
I think it further cements kind of Rey's kind of the insignificance of her lack of important heritage as well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. You can be a special person.
Yeah, anyone can be Force sensitive. So.
Exactly. So
it's the person, the character, how they choose to wield it.
Exactly. So there you go. Cut to credits. End of film. Hooray!
Hot damn.
We made it. Final thoughts? Do you think?
Yeah. Final thoughts. This is my kind of overall sticking point of this film. I liked literally the majority of it, and I'm talking mostly the visuals, the cinematography, the character motivations and developments. I thought could not have been any more on point or any better. And then we had everything you were viewing, like visually and character-wise, was fantastic. And I think you already know this, but my overall kind of impression of where we started and where we ended was, I didn't feel like we made a lot of progress in the grand scheme of things with the story. I felt like we went from The Force Awakens, where we had kind of the Resistance, they're on the back foot, they destroyed the base, they took heavy losses, we went into this movie, to they were Resistance, they're on the back foot, they took more heavy losses, and that was kind of it. It didn't really I didn't feel like they actually sparked the rebellion, because nothing's in sight. They weren't going anywhere. They were just kind of literally the Resistance now consists of people that could fit on the Millennium Falcon at the end of this movie, which is Leia, the droids, Poe, Rey, Finn, and a couple of other randoms. That is the Resistance that currently exists, bar people that didn't come to answer their calls for help in this movie. I just felt like, while the story was cool, like the whole chase scene through space was cool, I don't feel like the story progressed drastically. It did feel like just this kind of middle movie with this kind of story that didn't quite have the scope or progression that I was hoping. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think there was progression in the story, but maybe not in
enough.
Maybe not in the areas that people wanted there to be progression.
Yeah.
There was certainly a lot of character progression within the story.
100%. Yeah. It was a very character-driven story, and I completely agree on that field.
Overall, I came out of the film and I was like, I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with that film. Again, though, second act, bit too long. Bit heavy-handed. That is genuinely my opinion on that. I think they should have toned down the second act. And it made the film feel a little bit too long, but...
It is the longest Star Wars film, so
it
keep
felt
that in
like
mind.
it. Well, actually, no, it didn't. I don't think I've ever actually watched The Phantom Menace all the way through.
Oh, God.
I just couldn't. Every time I just get really bored.
Get to the guns and you turn it off.
Yeah, pretty much.
It does feel like a long film, but by the time you get to the last half hour, you don't give a shit.
No, exactly.
It really perks you back up.
It ramps up so much in the last hour or so, and it's just like, okay, that's why I'm here. But yeah, genuinely a really good film with some flab and some slightly awful plot elements. But, no film is perfect, but overall I did really enjoy it. So that's my takeaway from the film. And if you disagree with us, leave a comment, or if you have your own opinions, feel free to leave a civil comment.
Yes. No fanboy rage, please. Feel free to correct us on all our
if we made
many missteps.
I'm gonna say, if we made a mistake or we missed something, then by all means, just leave a comment, as long as you're not a dick about it.
Yes. But I agree. Closing comments, thoroughly enjoyed the film. I've seen it twice now. I would have seen it regardless of us recording this or not. I wanted to see it a second time because it's a fantastic film. And we probably sounded like we're a little bit heavy-handed and harsh in certain aspects, but I mean that just goes to show how passionate we are about.
Yeah, I guess we are Star Wars fans. That's why we're passionate about this. It's not just because we like pissing on it, because we enjoyed it.
No,
but
100%. Would I see it a third time? Definitely. Would I tell everybody and their dog to go see it? 100%. And in fact, I just did my top 10 list today of movies 2017, and I think I placed it at number 4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is, it's pretty damn high.
That is tough. Wow.
For a Star Wars film, yeah. So go see it. It's fantastic. And make up your own opinion. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, to close this out, thanks for, if you've made it this far, 2 hours in, thanks for listening
pretty
all the
much
way
2
through.
hours. Wow.
It's crazy. I thought we were going to go for about 40 minutes, man. So we did a good job. Thanks for listening. And maybe we'll do some more one-off little bits and pieces like this from time to time. But if you've enjoyed it, be sure to check out the rest of our content. We mostly cover gaming-related news and content and reviews and opinions and all that kind of jazz. But this is a bit of a holiday special. Not much is happening in the gaming scene at the moment. We've had all the big releases for the year, so why not? Let's talk about Star Wars.
Exactly.
So, again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Ta-ra!
Bye.